All right, Entree Architect community is 4 p.m. Eastern, which means it's time for the Entree Architect Context and Clarity Conversation for Friday, October 28th, 2022. As you get here, say hi. Let us know that you're here and let us know where here is for you. Where are you joining this conversation from? If we've never met before, my name is Jeff. I'm in Indianapolis. I come here every weekday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern for one reason, so that we can find clarity around the things that matter most to you, the architect. Doesn't matter if you're the employee of a firm or you own your own firm. Maybe you circle the date on the calendar. You said 2022 is my year and you're on the runway to starting your own thing. Or maybe you have owned your own firm for a year or 9 years or 18 years and you're starting to rethink or reimagine what that firm could or maybe even should be. All of the topics that we cover, one topic every day, they all fall under the broad umbrella of the business of architecture, and they're all the need-to-know topics for the success of small firm architects just like you. Thanks for joining me today. Let me see who's here, who's in the room today. Chris Novelli, hello. Deb Schmucker, hello. I see Chris first in the comment section, first in the room, so he's the winner of today's John Kinney Memorial Crocheted Bathtub Award. I don't see your comment showing up here on Restream, so let me post this real quickly. If you're posting right now and not showing up on the screen, go to chat.restream.io/FB, like Facebook. A couple of clicks later, you can give Facebook permission to let your name, your likeness, your comment out to Restream, where I am here today. Glad you're joining us, but great to see your comments showing up here on the screen as well. So chat.restream.io/FB may be the thing that you need. I see Jessica and Yoko. Glad to have all of you as well. Chris says Deb beat her. Okay. Or Deb beat him. Sorry. All right. Well, we'll give it to Deb. Congratulations, Deb. You're the winner of today's John Kinney Memorial Crocheted Bathtub Award. I'm doing the split screen again because I'm looking at Restream, but also looking at Facebook. It does not appear, I don't know what the issue is, but it does not appear that anybody's comments are showing up from Facebook over here to Restream. So give it a try. Chat.restream.io/FB, like Facebook. And maybe we can get your comments here on the screen. I'm going to hit refresh over here on this side as well. Let me try this. Let's see what happens. See what happens without trying to lose the entire. Maybe we can. Nope. You got to be quiet, guy. So Jessica, Yoko, Chris, Deb, glad to have all of you with us. I am going to open the Restream room for everybody today. It is different. We are on Restream on a Friday because it is book club day. It's the final Friday in the month of October, which means it's time for the Context and Clarity book club discussion. This month, the book has been Profit First. I know some of you have read that. So we're going to start that discussion. Be great to have some join me here in the room. Let's see what I can do about, let me share. I'm going to share the link here inside the Facebook group. Let's see. So there you go. If you want to join me here in the room, click that link. Oh, I should have. That's all right. We'll do it that way. If you have trouble with that, just put that in the comments, and I think I can generate a different link. But hopefully that one will work for you. Maybe somebody will join me here for this discussion. But like I said, the topic of the day to wrap up the month is Profit First, the book by Mike Michalowicz. So question number one, have you read Profit First? You can drop that in the comments. Let us know. Okay, he says, check the link. All right, let me check. Let me try this. There's Chris Novelli. Hi, Chris Novelli.
Hello.
Hello.
I can join for a little while. Get till about 4:30, maybe a little longer.
Well, great to have you here.
I just tried relinking my Restream, so we'll see if it doesn't look like it popped up though.
Let's see. With the the chat.restream.io. I wonder why that's not working today. I don't know. Don't know. So if again, we'll do this like we have a lot of Fridays in the past. If you'd like to join here on screen, you're welcome to. The link is in the comments now over in the Facebook group. It's the studio.restream.io link. Click that and you can join Chris and I here on screen. If not, I'm going to try to play both sides and watch the both here on Restream and on Facebook, because I don't know. I don't see any comments showing up right now. I'm not sure why that is, but
here's how I set it up. I have two open windows and I have them overlap just enough where I can only see the Facebook comments on the side. So there's a little workaround there.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's good one. Hi, Catherine.
Do it. Sorry, I'm late. I was on the phone with the bank because I was trying to do my profit first thing, and it's my new bank, so I didn't really realize how they work. And then you know what happened? Am I interrupting here? Can I just tell you what happened when I called the bank?
Go right ahead.
When we were getting our accounts, I have to say this kind of not very loudly. We were getting our accounts. Like I let Michael go first because I thought, patriarchy and everything, he'd feel like I was being emasculating or something if I went first. So he went first, and the guy said, "Oh no, it doesn't make any difference who goes first. Their name, right?" Turns out it does. And then I just called up and like, "I'm sorry, ma'am, is your husband home? Because we need his permission to talk to you." I'm like, "Yes, hold on, he's taking a nap. Let me just go get him, and I will get him on the phone."
Nice.
I was pissed. Yeah.
Long live the patriarchy, I guess.
Jeez. I mean, the guy told me it wouldn't make any difference who goes first.
Yeah. You get that a lot, but obviously it's not just those bank accounts that it does matter. So
it matters. Anyway, hello. So I was trying to do my whole disbursement of funds throughout my accounts. Like I said I would this morning.
Yep.
But I didn't quite achieve it. I did not finish, but
you made the effort though. Right?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of me. I'm still in that, that I don't know if you guys get this when you talk to the bank, that frustrated sort of sweat that maybe you get like from like this is anyway. That's cool. I'm all right.
I get that a lot. Yeah.
So I did a when I set up my business accounts originally, I the woman I spoke with was very interested in what I do for a living. So I had a long chat with her, and then a year later she hired me to do a renovation to her house.
Oh,
and then she switched positions at the bank, and she put me in contact with the person who was taking over from her. So I just anytime I need something, I just email him directly, and it just gets done. So
yeah,
you gotta get an in with one of the business bank workers.
Yeah, I used to at my old bank. So yeah, I guess I'm just not used to being the ma'am, you'll have to get your husband on the phone so I can talk to you about the bank sort of lady. Anyway, I have a couple questions about the book and about the whole thing, and I am now right up against why I don't want to do this right now at this very moment.
Well, let's back up.
I'm gonna have to ask you because I have a lot of questions for Chris, who's done it.
Yeah. Because I'm looking at the comments and I see James, welcome back from upstate New York, and Steve from Des Moines. I'm glad you're here. I see some responses over on the Facebook side of, yes, I've read it. Great book. That's what Deb said. Yoko's a not yet. And Steve is haven't had a chance yet, but it's been recommended multiple times. So I'm hoping I can get a good preview summary here. So let's just go back to the beginning, basically. So for those of you that have just joined us, first of all, welcome. Glad that you're here. This is Context and Clarity. If you're not familiar with it, it's a show that we do every weekday at 4 p.m. Eastern. We talk about the things that matter most to entrepreneur architects. And one of the things that we do every month is we read a book. And the final Friday of every month is Context and Clarity Book Club Day. The book for October has been Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. If you've been around these parts for a while, you may realize that Mike Michalowicz has been a guest on Context and Clarity Live twice. So he's probably not unfamiliar to many in this community. But today we're here to talk about both, I would say both the book, Profit First, but also the implementation of the Profit First strategies, I guess. So let's start just very quickly and just sort of a recap, if you will, or a preview, if for those who haven't read it, about what Profit First is. The first thing I'll say about that is that I know that some people hear the title of the book, and it's Profit First. And this has come up a few times in our community, even where they go, "Oh, profit first. I'm not interested in somebody that talks about the fact that profit should be above everything else, or should be before everything else, or something like corporate greed, that kind of thing." That's not at all what this book is about. So I want to throw that out there. In fact, I don't know if it's the complete opposite. I'd have to think about what the linear progression is there, but it's definitely not about profit above everything else. But for those in on Facebook who have read it, put in the comments. Give us your 1 or 2 points from the book. What's this book about? And then I'm going to ask the same question of Catherine and Chris, and now Pam. 1 or 2 points. What's this book about? Anybody can start.
Well, I think fundamentally it's about having your business support you and bring you joy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, also I want to apologize for getting a little ahead of things. I'm just a little excited.
Oh, no worries. I know. We're going to get there.
But anyway, I think that's what it's about. I mean, how you can enjoy, because a lot of us end up not paying ourselves as much as we should to pay our expenses, and go into debt and do other things that just are going to sink the business in the end anyway. And it doesn't feed us in a lovely way, which I guess, Chris, because you look like you've got joy in your work. So I assume
Sure.
Chris has found it.
Yeah, so I know the accounts get a lot of attention, right? Because he recommends setting up all these different bank accounts that a certain percentage of each of your invoices gets distributed into, right? And that gets a lot of attention because it's a great system. But I think the book goes a lot further than that. It talks about minimizing overhead. It talks about yearly analysis, or I guess it doesn't need to be yearly analysis, but there's that whole chapter on the analysis of your business, which I am looking forward to revisiting at the end of the year, just to recheck everything. It talks about debt and getting out of debt. It talks about building a leaner team and a whole bunch of other stuff other than just the accounts. So it's a great book all around, but the accounts definitely get the majority of the attention, I think, from the people that I talk to.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. Hi, Pam.
Hello.
Have you read Profit First?
I read it years ago, but I did
Mhm.
put the accounts into work like right away, which is really nice for the bank accounts, both for the business and for the personal. I have the vacation, the taxes, the health. Like I have 6 different accounts going on. But more importantly, I set up my son starting it since he's in college.
Nice.
So he has a rent account and personal expenses. Like he has those set up in his bank account so that before he graduates, which is this year, he can get organized.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
That he has
great.
to keep that rent money in the rent account.
Yeah. So that's I mean, I think that's a good point. I love that lesson. I love extending it to a young person that's adulting already, but getting ready to next level adulting, post
Right,
graduation. That's awesome.
right. No, it's working.
Good. And I think I think you're all right that the accounts are what probably get the most attention in the book. So conceptually, the idea is you set up a number of accounts, and there's basically a prescription in the book, but there are things like your salary, your operating expenses, your profit. Obviously, there's a profit account, and so all the categories that you need to um, pay to, right? The things that you have to pay for in your business. And then, of course, the idea is that because there's a profit account, money goes into that out of every single invoice that's paid, right? So um, I think some are familiar with Dave Ramsey. Um, I had it on the tip of my tongue again. Um, Dave Ramsey has made the rounds. A lot of people are familiar with him. He has a system that I always think of it as the envelope system. You've got an envelope for your groceries, and you've got an envelope for your rent, and you've got an envelope for you know gas for the car and movies or whatever, entertainment maybe. And you know every paycheck, stuff goes into each of those envelopes, right? And that's what allows you to pay for those things. And if it's empty, you're not doing that, I guess. You're not eating. uh, but there's some similarities there if you're familiar with the Dave Ramsey system but haven't read Profit First yet. Maybe that resonates somehow. Catherine, you were talking about going to the bank, setting up, getting the accounts set up.
Hmm.
The experience so far today.
Well, that was just my personal stuff, by the way, not my business stuff. But it was involved, it was like my business stuff is under my name. So that's good for
Sure,
me.
sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Makes sense.
So what is it like? And this came up on Clubhouse this morning too, about how do you find the right bank, maybe a Profit First friendly bank. I think it was Rod that asked that this morning on Clubhouse. So I know Chris, you have things set up, and you also pointed out that there are resources on the on Mike Michalowicz's website to find a bank and to find some accountants and things like that. But what's your experience been like in setting it up?
So I think one of the things that, if you look on that resource that he recommends, is finding a bank that doesn't have any limits, right? Because if you follow his account set up to the T, you're depositing all of your invoices into one account and then distributing and bringing that account down to zero, and then refilling it and then redistributing it. So he says to look for a bank that doesn't have any minimum deposit amounts or minimum balance requirements. So I just used the same bank that I was already using, and I like I said this morning, I think there's some adaptability in the system, and I don't follow his accounts exactly to a T. So I don't have that one account that goes to zero. I just deposit into my operations and then distribute from there. But so yeah, I would say looking for a bank that doesn't have minimum balances, or looking for a bank that doesn't limit you on transfers. I think pretty much every bank these days has a mobile app, but that would be something that I would 100% require, because you can access your information and transfer funds within a matter of seconds from your phone. So if you're using a bank that doesn't have a mobile app, I think it's time to find a new bank.
Or if it turns out they don't actually transfer it in seconds, like in my case, maybe that would be an important thing to ask. But anyway, yeah. And then supposedly your hold account should be in something you don't have access online or easy access at all.
Just having the names helps, though. When it's your to pay taxes account, you shouldn't be pulling out money to go on vacation on that one. It helps mentally.
when I went and set up accounts, and I set up a taxes account, and I forget how many years ago this was. It was pre-COVID, right? You walked into the bank and you did stuff there in person with people, and the person that I worked with was amazed that I was setting up these accounts and especially that tax account. And to me, that one, I want to, so this is about being intentionally profitable, right? I want to be intentionally profitable, but I'm also terrified of getting to tax time and not having the funds to pay for, to pay the appropriate taxes. And so that one in my mind is maybe the most important.
Yeah.
But this person at the bank was like, "Wow, I can't believe you're setting up a tax account." It's like, yeah, I don't want an IRS a call from the IRS. So
I got the same thing. I actually had a tax account before I even read the book. But then before I read the book, I just had two accounts. I had my operations and I had taxes. And then I called up the banker. I said, "Hey, I want to set up like 4 more accounts." And he's like, "What? Why?" I'm like, "Well, one for this, one for that, one for that." And he was like you said, he was dumbfounded. And I tried to tell him the system. He's like, he thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, it's not like it costs him any money.
Yeah.
Hey, I hate to tell, it turns out if you don't have the money to pay the IRS, you can set up a payment plan with them.
Yeah.
I'm just telling anybody who might be panicking, because I've done that.
Yep. That's a pretty normal thing, actually. It's just,
it's not hard. I mean, it isn't hard to set it up, and so
I was trying to
don't jump off the bridge.
It is hard when your income, like being self-employed, your income can vary greatly from year to year depending on the projects. So you assume it's going to be a certain amount, and then you still don't know if you have enough in that tax account. So good to know.
So my issue is kind of related to that income piece. So I guess the reason I'm afraid to do this is because then I won't be able to get the income that I need to pay my other bills. Whereas if I keep doing this like sleight of hand thing, then I can still keep going in my denial, I guess, about how much money I can spend. But if I
a little both.
Yeah. If I only put 25, like I figured out the percentages, and right now it's like 50% for expenses, because lately I haven't been making that much money because I was in the middle of moving and everything. So you're supposed to take your worst 3 months and then figure out what your income would be from that. And that isn't, I don't like it. Let's just say I just don't like it. So I'm afraid to do it because I don't like it. And I'm just admitting it because that's like pretty immature. So if I just say it out loud, then maybe I'll just learn how to cut expenses in my life, right? That's the idea, I guess. If you only have so much money, and use that toothpaste for longer.
I still borrow from those accounts, but I know I shouldn't, and then I know I need to replace it when I can. Okay. So it's one of those balances. It doesn't work out. Like the Profit First helps you get organized, but it doesn't give you it doesn't help you make a lot of profit. Like incoming income is less informative, but organizing what you have so that you do have profit is helpful. But I still borrow from accounts I shouldn't. I try not to touch the tax one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I touch the other ones though.
Yeah. James Petty says, "Catherine, it's time to increase your fees to help with that." Elizabeth Carmichael says, "Yes, Pam." She's, I think, afraid of similar things. She said, "I read the book years ago and still need to implement most of it, but we do have separate accounts. Yet still no Profit First account. Need to revisit the book." Yeah, I mean, I think this. I was having a conversation about this earlier today, and the person that I was talking to is in the room or was in the room. So if they want to chime in, that's fine. If not, that's fine too. But this is one of the things that has that always amazes me in again, raising my hand as always with this is the whole idea is being intentionally profitable. And there are so many of us that have started our businesses and run our businesses for years without the systems or the discipline or any of those things. And all of those things are hard. Absolutely. And that's one of the things I love about this book. And I say this all the time about Mike Michalowicz. He takes these problems and breaks them down into these simple systems. That's what I think the power of this book is. It's like, hey, why is it that I wonder all the time if I'm going to make any profit, right? If there's going to be any money for this, that, or the other. And it's because, oh yeah, remember all those accounts that I have set up that I haven't been, that I got lazy or whatever, stopped working those accounts. That's a big part of it. But I think just starting with the intention of being profitable is something that a lot of business owners don't do. They want to be, but I don't think they're intentional about it. So I think that's a big part of this.
It's interesting with all these books that we're reading that sometimes you'll read it a while back and you don't do anything about it, but then it comes up where I need to get organized. Then looking back at the book, then you make it useful and then go down the list and see what you should be doing. It seems like all those books are like that, where it's like good to have read it at some point so you remember to go back to it when you need to.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
That's true.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I'm glad that Catherine recommended this book. She said we ought to read Profit First for October because we're headed into 2023. Wouldn't it be great to implement this before 2023? So thanks for that, Catherine.
And it's great too. Like the percentages that you start out with they don't have to be big, right? They can start off small, and I think what he recommends is actually you increase those percentages every quarter, and then. But what's nice is even starting off small, watching those accounts grow. That's really fun. I get a lot of enjoyment out of seeing that. It's slow going at first, but then all of a sudden you look at it like, hey, I can actually do something with that money.
Yeah, like I already have $85.29 in profit there. So if I can take out, if I could take out half of it, then I'd have $43.34 or something.
You could buy more than a sandwich.
Yeah, I could buy a sandwich and a drink.
Yeah,
a stiff drink.
A stiff drink. 2 stiff drinks. 2 stiff drinks and a sandwich.
That's not a bad day right there.
A martini lunch.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, I guess I still don't know what to do about the owner's compensation.
What
is that?
It's just not enough for what I need to live on.
Oh. Same.
Yeah. So you need to give yourself a raise.
Yeah.
I guess.
Right. Well, when he was saying how people just do things based on their best months. So in my mind, it's kind of like how I meditate in my mind. I think I meditate, but I don't actually. So it's kind of a similar thing. Like I don't make that much money. I did like 3 times last year and had a good month. Right. But I don't actually make that. So yeah, it's just disappointing to look at the numbers sometimes.
Well, now we're back to James's point that we need to raise our fees.
Oh, definitely. I mean, he's right.
Yeah.
I do think I have it set up a little bit differently where my owner's compensation is based upon the minimum amount that we need for a family combined with my wife's income.
Yeah. So then how do you do that?
So it's actually, the way that it started was we just based it on what I made as an employee before starting my firm. So and the nice thing, and I gotta say this quietly, so because she's right up there. Every time she gets a raise, that means I have to contribute less, which means more into my profit account.
Nice.
No, but I use that money. This year I've used that money for vacations and home improvements. So it's
yeah, you're not hoarding it for yourself.
I'm not hoarding it.
At least while she's standing there.
Yeah. No, that's pretty great. Well, you've definitely inspired me to make it work. But then, so let's just say, like, if I have 10,000, let's just say for round numbers, then I have $10,000 on a bad month, let's say. So then, but I need 7,000. So then I only have 3,000 left, and then the taxes on that should be like 1,500. And then if that's true, then I only have, you know what I mean? Like, I can't pay my expenses for that much because I have
Yeah.
like 3,500 in health insurance I have to pay.
Yep. Health insurance is the killer.
It is a killer.
It's the killer. Well, it's the same for me. I have them set up and I put what I can. I don't put in maybe the necessary amounts. I do as much as I can until I can increase the profit. And then that will have to be through another book, I think. A marketing book or something to bring in the work, right? So it's a balance. I
Pumpkin
feel
book,
like I
I
have it set up, but yeah, I'm not bringing in enough to, like, I'm coming up short often too. So fix this next. Okay.
next.
Oh, is that really? That's
That.
there you go. I
Yeah,
haven't
we
read
read
that one.
we read that when he came on, like last year, right? Can you remind me what that book is about?
Yeah, but I don't think I read
Yeah,
it. Let me see if I have it.
I think the first time he came on, we talked about Fix This Next, and then the next time we came on, we talked about This is the Marketing Book. But so because when he came in on the first time and we talked about Fix This Next, there were a lot of people that asked, which should you read first, Profit First or Fix This Next? Because that was sort of one book and then the next book in the publishing chronology there. And so Profit First is sort of wrapped up into Fix This Next. Fix This Next takes a holistic view of your business, and actually, hint, you're going to see something similar to this rolled out in Entree Architect before too long. But he breaks your business down into these 5 categories, basically. And there's an assessment where you view your business through this assessment as judged by those 5 categories, and literally, what do I need to do this month? And so if you go through this assessment and say, oh, well, profit is the thing that needs to be fixed right now, it's sort of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. He calls it that. It's the business hierarchy of needs with, no Maslow. But so you figure out what needs to be fixed next, and you work on that. And then once that's fixed, then you go back to the assessment and figure out what the next thing is. And so maybe this month it's sales, maybe next month it's hiring, maybe the next month it's something else. And so, I again, you're gonna see some things related to this coming out in the Entree Architect community soon. But it's a really good book, and it's Pam, to your point, it's got the marketing piece in it. Now, I guess they do go hand in hand. I guess what's also interesting is the next one that came out was Get Different, Marketing That Can't Be Ignored, which we talked to him about the second time he came on. So maybe there are components of Fix This Next coming out. I don't know what his plans are beyond that, but I would definitely recommend Fix This Next.
Yeah, because I am like the idea of, just, raise your rates. It's like, yeah, but we need people to latch on to that. Yeah. Actually, right, because right now we're finding they're starting to, like, interest rates are going up and they're stopping their jobs. So, like, or why they're starting to question fees, which they haven't. You see the change, like, oh, they're stressing more about money, and why is this costing so much? It's like it's explained out. It's in the contract. There's nothing extra. It's all verbatim right there. But the increasing the fees would be challenging right now, I think.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's why marketing it so that it's not being questioned would be
Yeah. Yeah.
good.
So I wonder, I know that this is going on a tangent, which is in my mind fantastic, but how do you, when they question those things, how do you answer it? Is it, well, it's spelled out in the contract, or is there something more to the explanation than that?
It's an explanation of the value of that research that needed to happen for the next steps. That it's an explanation and also explaining. I usually don't go back and say it's in the read your contract. It's
Yeah.
more of a there's value added.
Mhm.
But if they feel if they don't see the value added, sometimes we can tell, okay, this is the beginning of a project. We should stop this now. Like it's just going to get worse because I can see it's a change in their resources that is the issue,
Yeah.
and then it won't get better. So
Yeah. Is there a way to, uh, well, let me read Ed's comment here before it goes away on my screen. He says,
oh, yeah, I can't see it.
because he was having trouble with his audio. He said he hasn't read Profit First. However, he took Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. That's what I was trying to think of. He said he and his wife budget rigorously, and as I was trying to pronounce that, it scrolled and I can't see the rest of Ed's comment. So sorry, Ed. Um, the so you can see on the screen, commenting from LinkedIn is working. Commenting from YouTube is working. So if you want your comments to show up on the screen, apparently we're going to have to jump to a um, different platform, or join us here on the screen. I'll drop that back into
Yep. Even
that
better
link back.
yet.
Yeah, I'll drop this back into the Facebook group if you want to join us here.
How many
But
people on Facebook?
well, we've got 14, somewhere around 14. That's not always entirely accurate. But maybe 14 or so in Facebook. So thank you, Nicole. She reposted Ed's comment. Ed says he and his wife budget rigorously. Wow, that's a hard word. We use
Rigorously.
yeah, the vowels are in the wrong spots.
Rigorously. Yeah.
We use a program called YNAB. Uses it for his business, has a joint checking account and a separate business checking account. It's a chapter in Ed's book on this. How's your audio, Ed? Is it
Ah,
working?
I think it's working.
it's
Yeah.
Can
working.
you hear me?
We
Yep.
can hear you now.
Oh,
It's
good.
just
All
like
right, I'm
Sprint.
back.
Yep.
Good timing.
I didn't read the book, but I follow a lot of those principles. And we found having a really good household budget program really helped. I've heard of people saying, you have to have separate bank accounts for all of this. I think if you have a good budgeting program where you can break it down into categories, that suffices in lieu of like open up a separate physical bank account that needs a minimal balance and has to be managed and all that. So that was kind of I heard people talking about opening accounts, and I started to get kind of leery about that because I think that's a lot of work, and I don't think it's necessary per se.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to discipline, right? If you can do it through a spreadsheet, kudos, right? If the accounts, and you're right. I mean, if you've got to keep a minimum, that could be, if you get penalized for not having a minimum, that could be really detrimental. So it might not make sense. But what's going to help you accomplish it, I guess, is the question. Christian says he's read about a third of the book. Which third did you read, Christian?
Well, he did say it was front loaded so that you could just read the first bit and the rest of it's just kind of explaining it a little bit more.
So maybe you read the end and he's done.
Yeah. Yeah. Yoko, welcome. Stiff drink in hand, apparently.
Yes.
Oh, what does she have? I can't see it.
It's Friday.
Well, it's later than here, so
Yeah.
But it's still Friday.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Friday.
it is still Friday. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Ed, I mean, he talks about that in the book about how you might say, why can't you just keep it all in one account? So he has this whole small plate philosophy going where you only have, if you think you only have this much food, that's all you will eat. So similar idea.
Yeah.
So
It's true, the Costco principle, that you buy in bulk and then you just waste it, or that's the Costco's based on that whole idea of consume.
mm,
So
Gene?
I want to make another comment, if I could. Profit especially for a sole practitioner, it's a real gray area
Mhm.
because how do I explain it? I can be real profitable if I if we don't go out to dinner that much, or we I mean, if I cut household expenses, I could technically call that business profit. I do have goals, but it's a much kind of grayer area. If you're running like a home-based business or a sole practice, it's not that you shouldn't. You definitely have to have financial goals and a budget, and want to meet those goals. But most of my profit goes, or a lot of it goes into my retirement account. I mean, it doesn't necessarily sit in my business per se. It's just, as much as I can, I'll sock away into my retirement account. I have reserves in my business to get me by. I can get by for probably 2 months, at least without any income. I've got that much saved in the business, but I mean, I'm not looking to just, bank money every month as profit. I'd rather put that into a retirement account or something. So I find the whole I I get it if you're legitimately, I shouldn't say that because my business is legitimate, but if you have a business with if you have a business with employees and all that, and you really you have this thing called the business, and you really do have to have profit. I mean, let's face it, most architects don't have enough
Yeah, I think
profit.
that's why
That's why they have
why the
that's why
book.
they have layoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, the one of the most successful small practitioners I knew, he had 6 months reserve for each employee. He had a 4-person firm. He had a lot of
Whoa.
money banked, and
Wow.
he said,
Great.
we can go 6 months without getting a payment. And he goes, because it's so expensive to hire people, to get people productive. I would rather have that money and pay them and work on the business when we don't have, income. And when I taught professional practice, he was like one of my favorite practitioners come in, because he really had this successful 5-person firm. It could have been a 20-person firm. He said, I'm going to cap it at 5. I don't want more than 5. And then he cherry picked projects because he was able to be that much more profitable. So
Wow, here Catherine
prof-
and I are trying to pay ourselves.
I know.
Yeah.
That's
It's like Ed froze up there.
mm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think the whole point of the book is that that's the way people usually do it, and the idea that we might have the joy sucked out of our lives this way. We're just supposed to spend the profit on something that would make us happy. So whether that's like
Yeah.
a new tree
Retirement.
or, well, I mean, retirement, yeah, but that's kind of
Well, yeah,
different.
as I was listening to what Ed was saying, and trying to compare it back to the book, and I don't remember exactly if Mike Michalowicz addresses retirement accounts in the book, but I am fairly certain that he would not compare that, would not relate that to profit. I think he would have an account that would be
Mhm.
the retirement account, or at least the owner's pay account, benefits account, something like that. And that's what you just said is exactly right, Catherine. The idea is, one of the things he says in the book is, I don't. This is not how he says it. It's how I remember it, though. But look at look at Shell. Look at Shell Oil. They just announced in the last couple of days a $3 or $4 billion buyback. So if you look at that function, and I was actually having a conversation with somebody about this last night outside of the architectural world, someone that's an accountant. You look at that, and what's happened is Shell has made so much profit that they've decided to use that to buy back stock, right? Once that, well, maybe not. Maybe that's not right. Maybe what I'm thinking is not right. But the idea is the money in the profit account. You can do whatever you want to with it, right? What you said, Catherine. Whatever brings you joy. Buy a
Right.
sandwich or a
Well,
car or
it depends on how
whatever.
much it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
But you're
whatever
not
you want
supposed
to
to
do
put
with
it
it.
back in the business, though.
Right. It does not go back. So I guess his examples are you look at some corporation, Shell or otherwise, and when they talk about the dividends that are paid to the shareholders, right? That's the profit gets distributed in that way. It doesn't go back into the business. When Shell takes 3 or 4 billion, whatever it is, goes into buy stock buybacks, then I think by Mike Michalowicz's definition, that's not profit anymore, right? That's
It's
going
an
back into the
expense.
business. Say that
Doesn't it
again?
become an expense?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and no accountant. My dad was. That's why I'm not.
And your wife is. I'm
Well,
thinking about
yeah,
that a
she's a
lot. So,
finance person. Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
guess
those-
I guess I didn't read the book, so I missed some of the conversation today, so I'm a little behind. So is he saying that the profit account isn't actually classified as profit? I mean, once you spend it, it's no longer, well, I guess it depends on your business structure, maybe. Like for me, I have a S Corp, a PLLC with an S Corp, so profit is a dollar amount on paper,
Mhm.
right? It's not necessarily the dollar amount in the bank, but I
Right.
have to, and because I have an S Corp, it gets passed, the company doesn't pay taxes. The individual does. It's a pass-through based on your shareholder, So let's say the business has $10,000 of profit recorded, that gets passed through to my personal taxes as business income, in addition to my salary. And then it's taxed, that 10,000 is taxed differently from my salaried income. And that's what the tax benefit is of having an S Corp, because I pay less taxes on the business income. So, the whole reason for an S Corp is you minimize your salary, you maximize your profit, because you pay, and then you can take distributions from that profit, and you pay less taxes on it.
Right.
But that's a completely, so it sounds like it's a completely different concept what he's talking about in terms of a profit account.
Well, yeah, in a way, because he talks about that too, about how traditional accounting methods, that profit is just a number on this sheet, that you don't actually have the cash. So the difference being that this, you would actually have the cash in an account, so that you then get a certified check quarterly. Like, this is your profit,
distribution.
profit
My
distribution.
Mhm.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So it's
I'm
the same.
afraid to take distribution.
Well, that's why you need to
I
read
will
the
look
book.
at what's
Yoko.
left at the end of the year, and then I'll say, all right, I'll take, X, whatever. But
Well, see, that's exactly where he said that is where he was, and that's why he wrote this book, to make this new. It's like an envelope thing, like Jeff was saying. It's like an envelope system but you put the profit in first. So if it's even just 1%, then you just start getting used to the idea of doing that, and then slowly over time you lower your expenses to put more in your own compensation. So, basically, that's it.
Jean says that she's also familiar with the Dave Ramsey system, and she equates them to being similar. And she says that Mike Michalowicz recommends 50% of profit take home, 50% for reserve. So I guess if your profit account has $100 in it, distribute 50 and leave 50 as a reserve.
Right.
And she says Mike's profit is cash in the profit account.
Yeah.
does he recommend a emergency account separate from the profit account?
The 50%, right? The reserve, is that emergency, or is reserve?
Yeah.
What is reserve?
I don't remember. Sorry. Go
Uh,
ahead.
well, no, go ahead. I'm trying to think of how you're supposed to get your capital.
Yeah, I was trying to remember there, if you go like by the book, he lists off, I think it's like 6 accounts. There you
I just ordered the book.
go. I don't remember if there's an emergency. There's an operations account. There's a owner pay account. There's a profit account. I forget what the rest of them are now.
I think when you go for advanced techniques, that's where you go into the vault, for example. When you include, it's like interest bearing account that you use for short term emergencies. So, I mean, there's some advanced things. So he kind of, so as not to overwhelm people, I think he has them start off more simply, and then later on,
Mhm.
once we actually have more money, there are lots of different types of accounts.
Speaking of vault, it's gone by now. I don't know why I can't see all of the comments on Facebook, but Nicole mentioned that, I forget which bank it was. Nicole, maybe you could repost your comment, please. But she mentioned a bank that she uses that that allows you to do the do one account, but have, I think she said it was vaults in that account. So
Oh.
that may be profit first friendly.
Mhm.
Jing says he recommends 3 to 6 months of operations cost in the reserve. So maybe that's
Yep, so
emergency.
it's part of the reserve. Yeah, that would
And
be
Nicole
emergency.
says SoFi Bank has a 2.5% interest rate on checking accounts right now, and allows you to set up vaults within the account for different purposes. So,
Oh, is that all online,
Yeah,
that bank?
they're fintech.
I don't know, SoFi Bank.
Or do they
Not
have,
sure.
They're fintech.
oh,
2.5% seems like a pretty decent interest
Yeah.
rate from a bank.
getting anything.
Yeah.
Although it's going
by the
up
year.
because interest rates are going up.
I think they're
Mhm.
trying to gain market share, really, is what it
Mhm.
comes down to. They're pulling an Amazon strategy on the
Oh,
financial
really?
industry. Yeah, at least that's what it looks like to me.
Might be. Wow, I know we are getting we're getting close to the top of the hour very quickly.
Yeah.
So if you have joined us, obviously, well, I think it's obvious. If you're commenting on Facebook, they're not coming through to Restream for some reason today. I'm not sure why. Obviously, you're able to see us, which is fantastic, and we're trying to bring in as many of your comments as possible. It looks like YouTube and LinkedIn are working. If you want to comment from that side to have them show up on the screen, that's fine. If not, perfectly fine as well. But we're talking today about the October Context and Clarity Book Club book, Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. So, have you read it? Have you implemented it? What questions do you have about it? What experience do you have?
Not to jump ahead, but do we have a November book?
We're going to announce it.
Oh.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean, we
about
only
to
have
do
4 minutes left, Jeff.
about to do eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I put 3 choices in our Slack channel. Granted, not that long ago, but
You did put 3 choices in the Slack channel.
yeah, you can check it out.
Speaking of eeny, meeny, miny, mo, do you use that? I mean, that's supposed to be kind of like,
That's see,
Wait, what is that?
there's one that
yeah, there's one. But we used to say, my mother punched your mother right in the nose. What color was the blood? And then, did you do that? I was just
Wow.
thinking about that. That's like, wow,
Okay.
that's a lot. And then you say green, and they go GREEN, and then you're out. I know Yoko looks a little upset by that, but I just realized that was our neighborhood thing that we did.
Wow, I didn't know there were versions.
So violent.
Well, I mean, to choose like
To
It is
catch
a
the
little
tiger
violent.
by the toe, right? That's all I know.
Yeah, well, they changed the
Tiger.
word tiger
Yeah.
from something else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it used
That is not
there's a version that was something else. Yep.
the original
Yep.
version was not cool. But there's 1
Yep.
potato, 2 potato. That can't be.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that one.
Is there? You never know nowadays. I don't want to say
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
My son will let me know if it's no longer used.
Exactly. I just have to check with my kids to see if I've crossed a line again.
Yep.
Yeah. So
It's-
Luciana and James and others are sharing some good information about different banks and rates on the Facebook group right now. So if you're curious, check it out. Different banks, and James has, or Luciana has a post from bankrate.com. Best savings accounts, compare rates. And Nicole says, I was recently recommended Basque Bank, but haven't looked into it yet. I posted the link from one of Mike Michalowicz's websites. It says, find banks that support profit first. Now you do have to, you'll get a link. There's a lot of resources that he has. You've got to give him your name and email address to get there. But there's a list of profit first friendly banks if you want to check that out.
Where did you post it in Slack, Jeff? Because I don't see it.
The Context and Clarity channel.
We have a Context and Clarity
Channel.
Podcast.
You mean like the one that I'm in and you're in, and like there are 3 other people in it? Not like for the full big group. I know. I know that one.
Just our team channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. I have to do some bulk voting.
Yeah. One of them was the one that we talked about yesterday, I think. So,
yeah, except for it's not on Audible, so that's I don't know.
It's short though.
2 that not on Audible. Well, that means it's easy for me to vote.
Is the one that is on Audible, is that too much? Sorry, everybody, we're getting a little side conversation.
Too much, like too heavy? Too heavy, you mean?
Or even too long?
How long is it?
Let me look real quick.
Too heavy and long. I don't know. We got how many people reading the books anyway, Jeff?
Well, this is true. Yeah. If it's on Audible, it only weighs this much.
That's right. But it could be 18 hours, and that's like a different type of weight.
Yeah. Looking for here. Hang on. Sorry, everybody. Sorry.
Wait, so is there a vote thing on Slack? Is that what?
No, that's what I thought. There was like a group, but it's only like me.
No. Yeah.
It's a me vote.
All right. Well, just tell us, and we'll decide what book. Then forget the.
Yeah, so we can let the on-screen people vote.
That's a great idea, and it also takes a lot of pressure off of us. Okay, so based on our conversation yesterday with Antoinette Bunkley, and inspired by that, I came up with three different potential books. One is The Will and the Way, Paul R. Williams, architect. And if you're not familiar, Paul R. Williams was the first Black fellow of the FAA, or of the American Institute of Architects, so FAIA, prolific architect in the Los Angeles area that many of us probably don't know about. The second, another choice is called Black Built, History and Architecture in the Black Community. Neither one of those 2 are on Audible. Just throwing that out there. And then the third choice that I put in there was The Color of Law, a forgotten history of how our government segregated America.
Well, okay, I got to look at that one.
So none are.
What was the second one again?
Say that again, Pam. What'd you say, Pam?
Oh, none of them are architecture specific, then, right?
Which one?
What was the second one again?
Black Built, History and Architecture in the Black Community.
Right, so that is architecture related. And then Paul Williams was a famous Black architect that most of us don't know much about.
That's biography, I guess. And
his life was supposed to be Hollywood worthy.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. And then The Color of Law.
Color of Law has been recommended in the past. It's on our list. Well, it's 9.5 hours long on Audible.
That's not too bad. And so the idea of this choice was because yesterday we were talking to That might be the president of the Rod Warner fan club. Or not.
I'm sorry, I missed what you said, Catherine. Get an echo.
I don't even remember what I said. Oh, the reason why we're looking at these books is because yesterday and we asked Antoinette what we could do, and it seemed like we could learn more about the situation that's got us where we are, sort of thing, or about Black architects, just to increase our awareness as white architects, what Black architects might be facing, or any other minority architect too. It's not just, obviously not just Black people, but
Oh wait,
yeah.
there's multiple Will in the Way books, I guess. Right? There's
Yeah.
a fantasy novel here that I
Oh.
Who knows? That might be something we can read in December.
I'm just trying to look it up and see. Yeah, something about the dark sun. I don't think that's it, right? Okay.
Let me find the
SON or
Okay.
S?
The Will in the Way.
It's a Paul
Oh
R.
yeah,
Williams
if it's
story.
SON, it's Black History Dark Sun, maybe, but no.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
Oops. The Will in the Way, Paul R. Williams, architect. I'll drop it into the comment. Actually, here, I'll put it in the private chat. It's not what I wanted. Hang on. What's going on?
That's where we are right now.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. There we go.
Well, I'm always kind of biased, and I like an audiobook because then...
Which one was the audio?
The Color of Law, A Forgotten History of How Our Government Segregated America.
Yeah, I'm leaning Color of Law also.
Okay.
I'm trying to decide if I
Williams.
read it or not. But let me see.
Yeah.
So how does the vote work?
You just vote.
We're talking and saying which one we
And
want.
you have to.
The
I just
mail-in ballots
want to
are
make
due.
sure.
Mail-in ballots are due
And if-
yesterday.
And if you do vote, you have to read the book, right? I mean,
Yes.
That should be the way it works. Yeah.
and not read the book, right? Okay. I just want to make that clear. Just want to
Yeah.
get
It
that
actually
out there.
turns out only people who read this month's book are really allowed to vote.
I can't vote.
I'm just kidding about that. But yeah, if you vote for the book, it'd be great if we all read it, because then we'll have more people to talk about the book with.
So somehow Christian has broken through the Facebook barrier, which is awesome. He says The Color of Law is a great and upsetting book.
I'm pretty sure I read it too, so then I would be in because
There you go.
I just have to remember.
Yeah.
Your grandfathered in. Luciana wants to know if we're doing regular context and clarity talks next week, which is a great question. So yes and no. Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, we will do context and clarity at the normal time, just like always, 4 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday and Thursday, we'll do context and clarity live from Austin at the Entree Architect Community Annual Meeting at 5 p.m. Eastern. That's right, isn't it?
Wow. I know. I'm confused now, Jeff.
It's
And then
4
Friday?
p.m. every day. It just depends
what
on which
about
time
Friday?
zone I'm in.
That's true, but then you'll still be there Friday.
I know. Yeah,
You'll be there
Friday.
Tuesday.
Friday will be back to 4 Eastern.
So it'll be 3 Central. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have an idea. How about we read The Color of Law and then watch the documentary about Paul Williams? Because
there's
there's
documentary on what?
documentary, and it's not like we're reading the book for the literary value of the book. It's just really to understand his life. So,
there you go.
What's the documentary called? Nicole also voted for The Color of Law.
Oh, hold on. I got to look up the documentary now. I saw it yesterday when we were looking for the book. R. Williams. You know, he designed that. He designed the space, the restaurant that's the theme building in LAX.
Oh,
What's another one? I didn't know that.
Is it Hollywood's Architect? The Paul R. Williams story?
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
it's black and white.
I'm curious about the president of the Rod Warner fan club. I think he's abandoned his. I think he's switched teams. What's going on there with that hat?
Hey, Mike muted.
You're open now.
Oh, am I open now?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. So, no, I'm an undying, unwavering Penn State fan. And they're going to beat that team tomorrow at noon. And my sisters, my sister and both brother-in-laws went to University of Maryland. So by default, I'm also a Terp. So go
Okay.
Terps.
All right there. Christian says you're the president and sole member of the.
Oh,
Rod
that's sad. That's not even true, Grouchy. Grouchy
We'll have a recruiting station down in Austin. There'll be a sign-up table.
We'll be there.
There'll be a
That
special
was
appearance by Rod Werner himself.
yeah. That you can get signed merchandise. That was a very grouchy comment.
Yeah.
All right, so here's what we're going to do for November. We are going to read or listen to The Color of Law, and then for extra credit, for bonus points, watch Hollywood's Architect, the Paul R. Williams story.
Awesome. That's exactly what I wanted. I'm so happy.
Yay. There we go. Yay.
And
Sorry.
I just clicked on the first link for the documentary, and it appears that it's free on the PBS website. 56 minutes and 33 seconds long.
Oh,
66 minutes?
56 minutes.
Under an hour.
So I'm sure you can speed it up, Catherine. So
We're almost done.
will.
Oh yeah, you can. You could do it at 2 times 2.
Yeah, I'll create posts. Excuse me. I'll create posts for that, and also, I'll post those tomorrow morning, likely, and then also tomorrow morning, as usual, I will post about context and clarity next week. And Luciana's question was a good one. It's going to be a little bit different week because of the conference and everything. So Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday and Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central. And our guest for Context and Clarity live next week on Thursday will be our closing keynote, Ryan Frederick. And so some of you may have remembered that Gene Cohn was to be the closing keynote for the conference. And unfortunately, Gene is suffering some health issues. And so he's not going to be able to be our closing keynote. So instead, Ryan Frederick will be. And what is going on with this? This is weird. Sorry. Gone to the website and it's not working very well. It's going to give you a little bit of background. There we go. Power of place. How where we live is foundational for healthy longevity. So he's going to give the closing keynote in Austin. And then as soon as that is over, Catherine and I will join him on stage. We'll do context and clarity basically as a Q&A conversation following the keynote. So we'll have the live audience in the room and the live audience online. We'll work both of those. We're going to see how that tech logistic works out. And so we'll do that just an hour later than our normal 4 p.m. Eastern time slot. So that's Thursday. Wednesday, we'll do context and clarity conversation as usual at but different time, 5 p.m. Eastern. And I'll post tomorrow about Ryan Frederick and ask you what you want to talk about next week. I'm not sure how some people are getting through on Facebook. It's nice that you are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Seems to be
John's
fixed.
here and on Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like
Well, he's on Facebook as John Jones, but
that's right.
Alter ego.
It's someone else on the screen.
Yeah.
Right.
Gonna have to do an ID check. Not sure about any of this. Something's fishy. Something's terpy.
Fear the turtle.
All right. Who on the screen is going to Austin? Okay, just two of you. Okay.
3 of us. Well, you're
Three.
going.
Okay, I'm
Oh
going.
yeah,
I'm
3 of you, half,
I'm going.
It's not too late.
50-50.
Still spaces available.
There are spaces available.
I'm so overbooked. It's not even funny.
You just
It's probably not, Yoko.
Projects are always going to
Probably
be
not
there.
funny.
Austin's but once in a lifetime.
out of office reply. That's
No,
it.
I wish, but no.
Quite a few votes for Color of Law, as it turns out, looking at
Woohoo.
tallying the different comments here. All right. Well, for those of you, I'll be in Indianapolis Monday as we do for a few more hours as we do Context and Clarity. So we'll see you Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern for our Context and Clarity conversation. And then some of you will see in Austin on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. For those of you that are traveling, safe travels. Crazy. So take care of yourself. Those of you that are not, we will miss you. But I'm just going to give you a little hint. There are going to be some impromptu lives from Austin. So watch for those in the Facebook group. We're going to have a lot of fun with this. So we'll try to include you as much as we can. With that, thanks everybody. Have a great
Happy
weekend.
Friday. Cheers,
Happy
Yoko.
Friday.
Almost.
Come by.
Pam, it's early yet. You better keep working. The rest of us, we're out.
No,
we're
it's
out.
Friday. Stop working.
We're out. We're done.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Thank you. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Stay safe. Keep those around you safe and well. Find some time to breathe, relax, find a way to rejuvenate. We do this every day, as you know. There's also several more Meet the Sponsor videos coming up, interviews coming up. So we're almost there. Have a great weekend. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.